And we're live. Hi, everybody. My name is Matt Brown, and welcome to the final installment of The Future with Halo Dot. I am joined by not one, not two, but three amazing guest speakers today who are going to be walking you through the future of SoftPOS and all sorts of cool things. But with me in the studio is Mike Smits from Ukheshe, one of the co-founders. Craig, welcome back. Nice to have you here. And then with me all the way from Austria, Paul Celubas. Welcome to the show, dude.
Thank you.
Awesome. Righty. So let's get straight into this. So this episode is called Show Me the Money. So we're going to be showing you the money, proudly brought to you by Halo. But I want to start off with Mike. So Mike, this week is actually quite an important week for you guys in the context of your partnership with Halo, because this is all about real world practical execution of Halo's technology in partnership with you at Ukheshe. But I wanted to maybe give you the floor to kick us off. What exactly does Ukheshe do? What do we need to know?
100%. Well, thank you very much, Matt. Really appreciate it. So what is Ukheshe? We're a fintech as a service business. So what that means is we make cool fintech stuff happen for the likes of banks and telcos and things like that. I think we'll go into a bit more details just now, specifically regarding Telkom and Nedbank, because the launch of Telkom actually happened, as we mentioned. The Telkom mPOS app happened this week, so that was great. It went out into the press. And Nedbank's product's going to be launched very shortly as well.
Fantastic. Thank you for that. Maybe for context, why, Craig, if I can bring you back into the conversation here, why did you choose to partner with Ukheshe? Like, what was the premise to, take your ePOS or SoftPOS solution and work with a partner like Mike and his team at Ukheshe?
Yeah. Well, there's a definitely big joint conversation with Nedbank. We built this for Nedbank as the first customer, and Ukheshe is really our second outside Nedbank, first customer outside Nedbank. And yeah, their proposition of a wallet more than a card acceptance terminal is really interesting, and we've been working with them longer than any other customer. So to have this product in market now and be live, because as we said earlier in the first episode, we don't go direct to merchants. So to have a channel and work together has been fantastic to us, and it's been great working with Mike and the team. And yeah, Mike drives a hard bargain, so we offered him a sweet deal, and he jumped at it.
We all like sweet deals, right? If we're in business. So I think context is really important here. So this is actually about Telkom Pay. So Mike, if I could bring you back into the conversation here, and then I'm going to come to Paul all the way over in Austria there. But what exactly is Telkom Pay? Paint a picture of what this context is and help our viewers and audience around the world understand, okay, real world, what is Telkom Pay? What have you guys actually done here with Halo?
Yeah, 100%. So what Telkom Pay is a merchant acceptance app, if you like, where people can actually accept card-based payments directly onto an app. And what sets it aside is its ease of use. So if you go back and have a look at some of the first iterations of the mPOS devices that came out, what you'd have to do is go into a bank. You'd then have to go and give a DNA sample, 13 forms that you'd have to fill out, etc., in order to be able to get a merchant account, and then the merchant account would then be activated with your app. So the user experience to be able to do that, very clunky, very difficult, and time-consuming. How this has been revolutionized through Telkom Pay is that you can sign up. Anybody can download the app who's got an NFC-enabled Android device, and they're able to sign up pretty much instantly. There's some FICA requirements, so you take a selfie, take a picture of your ID, those type of requirements, etc. And you can be up and running literally within 1 minute. Oh. So after actually signing up to the app, I can go to you and say, right, click on a button, say Matt owes me $100. Matt pulls out his Amex card, because Matt is fancy, and taps on the device, and the money will be available immediately for you.
Fantastic. Thanks for that. I want to bring Paul Celubas all the way in Austria into the show here. Paul, so this is obviously quite an important period in terms of the evolution of, payments, if you like, for retailers, and then also the customers that serve these resellers. So my question to you, Paul, is very simply, what are you seeing as the impact of the SoftPOS solution in terms of its ability to really help SMEs transact better and in a more secure fashion? What does that look like?
Yeah, so Matt, what's quite obvious specifically in South Africa is, the general population are well carded, right? They all have bank accounts. And I think it's the de facto now where everyone with a bank account comes with a card. And, it's no good having a card if you can't actually use it anywhere, especially when you're in a rural area. So I think as a small merchant, now you've been given the opportunity to accept card payment. I mean, that's not new, right? You've always been able to, but the challenges have been cost. The challenges have been the distribution of devices, so all these different challenges for a merchant kind of led them to a spot where they were like, no, this is too much of a hassle. It's too difficult. It's too far reached. So you've got a point now where they can just say, no, well, we're used to downloading apps. I mean, that's it's become a common thing. Following a couple of prompts, as Mike said, you follow a KYC process. And, depending on how fast your fingers move, in 5 minutes, you could have an account, which means at that point in time, you can start accepting taps on your phone of someone else's bank card. So you're selling goods, no matter what the value is. You could tap and the customer would tap on your device and you'd end up with the funds in your wallet. And, for me, this is probably one of the true definitions of financial inclusion. You've really helped small merchants. You've involved them in the actual financial system that has been established, the digital financial system. And I think that's quite important because, from there on, they can further be involved in terms of EFT payments, in terms of generating virtual cards or whatever other suite of services are involved that all originated from their customer tapping on their phone.
Wow, that's really interesting because it's something that we haven't actually touched on for the gentleman here in the studio with me. Paul, if I can actually stay with you, because I want to double down on this. How important is it, in your view, you mentioned the word financial inclusion, to actually include the unbanked into the sort of new SoftPOS payments ecosystem? Look,
I think it's tremendously important. I mean, there's so many different reasons to assist in financially including people. In South Africa, there's obviously the concerns of crime and cash. Contrary to popular belief, cash is expensive, right? You withdraw it, you got to deposit it, you got to safely store it. And by including merchants in this form, you really do help them alleviate all those challenges that come with cash. And as I mentioned, you really do open up a whole world of new facilities to them, be it microloans, be it purchasing services with a card or a virtual card. You really do open their world to further their business, to further their exposure, and for us, that's quite important that we're actually helping people with the technology that we deliver. And as I mentioned, it kind of all originates from a tap, from acceptance. And that's why this is so important to us.
Well, it's important to me, and I'm sure to many people who care about, financial inclusion, which is a very important idea. Maybe if I could bring Mike back into the story here. So it seems to me that there's definitely a value exchange for the consumer, banked or unbanked, most definitely. But for the merchant, my understanding is that it's been quite a difficult, high friction onboarding merchant type process. How have Ukheshe and in partnership with Halo resolved some of those pain points and removed some of the friction from the merchant side?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, if you go back in history, the cards have been around for many, many, many years. And traditionally, it was only the banks that actually got involved in that. So it was bricks and mortar type of environments. You would have to go into a bank, as I mentioned, and fill out forms in triplicate and wait 3 weeks to be able to get issued with your MPOS device or your point of sale device. And then, you got the likes of Ukheshe that came out, so the fintech type businesses, the Yokos that came out, etc., which have made many inroads in the SME space. So what they've done is, again, enabled, a little Bluetooth device that you can pair with your phone, for example. But it still takes time. You have to go out and buy a physical device to be able to pair with your phone, etc. So how this has revolutionized what's taking place is now anybody with an NFC-enabled Android device can have the exact same functionality as what you'd get at a Pick and Pay or Checkers to be able to tap on a POS device. You can get from your Android device. So the onboarding process, as I mentioned earlier, is very quick and easy. So, it is a payments instrument that you're actually issuing. So you have to go through FICA as a result of that. So we do all of that in the back end. So it's as simple as taking a selfie, entering your ID number, or taking a picture of your passport if you're a non-SA resident, for example. And again, within a couple of minutes, you're up and running and ready to go. So for the SME type space, etc., it's very easy. So whether you're on the side of the road selling a Coca-Cola where people are always going, sorry, I don't have any cash on me, can't actually purchase it. Or alternatively, you are at a stall and you're selling shoes at a stall, for example. In order to be able to accept card-based payments, and as Paul mentioned earlier, over 80% of South Africa is carded. Everybody's got a bank account. Whether they use it or not is a different story. But they do have a bank account. And, the enemy is cash. Cash is dangerous. Cash costs a lot of money, etc. And the problem why people keep using cash is that the acceptance location, as Paul mentioned, is where the problem comes in. So if you can have an Android device that is, from a data perspective, zero rated across that everybody can use. So the telcos actually go, the Vodacoms, the MTNs, the Telcoms, etc., actually launch these type of products and zero rate the data associated with them. Now it's very easy that anybody who has an Android device can start accepting card-based payments, and we can start actually taking cash out the ecosystem.
Yeah, unless cash is king. And unless we're talking about,
it costs a lot of money.
Mike, we're talking about show me the money, dude. That's the name of this episode, right? So if you're a merchant, it's all good. You're still in a safe place, okay? But I actually wanted to have some fun with you guys, if you're willing. You guys, before we hit record here, were messing around with sending money to each other. So this is a show me the money episode.
Yep.
So I'd like Mike, if you could please show Craig the money.
Sure, no problem.
Because I'm and I'd love, Mike, if you could lead with this one. If you could just walk us through exactly what is happening here, because this is all about proof, right? Yeah. So this is a day of execution and demonstrating, and not just show and saying how it should be, but actually showing how it works. So if you guys could maybe kick us off, what are we going to see? What exactly is working, and Mike, if you could explain, what the hell's going on.
Sure, no problem. So let's start with Craig. You're going to just show the camera your phone there. So this is an Android device, as mentioned. Craig has previously gone through the KYC process, so the know your customer process. So he's FICA'd on the system already. Yeah. You can see he's very rich. He's got 117 Rand on his app at the moment. Exactly. And what he's going to do is he's going to click a button called Get Paid. So in this Get Paid button that's there's two options. So he can either accept payments via a QR code. So if he clicks on that, he's able to then, somebody with a banking app, for example, is able to actually pay money through to him. Or alternatively, and what we're specifically talking about here in terms of Halo, is to be able to tap on the actual device. So he's going to put a princely sum of 12 SA Rand onto his device.
Show me the money, Mike. Show me the money, dude.
I'm loving and what it's saying on the screen now is please tap. So there's a little chip, and it's called an NFC.
He's got his card ready for me.
And if I tap that at the back, and being paid. That's
really?
it.
He used his Visa card. Previously, he used his MasterCard, I think.
Yep, correct.
And I've just got paid. And it really is a fantastic experience. And the whole wallet, the ins and out from here, I can make payments. It really is game-changing. And it literally took me 2 minutes to get signed up. And this is a big changer.
And where the utility comes in as well is those funds would then become available on his device. And then he can do cool stuff. Like, for example, with his wallet balance that's there, he can issue himself a virtual card. So a virtual card in the background, which then means he can go online and purchase, Netflix, or he can purchase from Take-A-Lot or whatever the case may be with the balance that's there. Absolutely. one of the big things that always people, worry about is, yes, I've got this money in my account. How do I actually access it? Yeah. And that's where the utility comes in. So, you have the availability to be able to do an EFT to yourself. So if you've got a bank account, you can then transfer the cash into the bank account. You can put it into your virtual card to be able to do payments, etc. And that's where the fintech space starts making sense, is that all of this utility that you're actually plugging together starts making it useful for customers so that they come back and utilize the service more and more.
Right, thanks for that demo, guys. Super exciting. I want to bring Paul back in from the Bright Lights of Austria. Great place, Paul. So I have a security question here because, this is really something that's quite future fit. It's very innovative. And, like with anything new, people are always worried about, well, what are the security risks, if any? So that's my question to you. Like, how worried should we be about security? Like, is someone going to walk past, Craig's phone, clone his wallet and take his 112 Rand away from him, so he's going to have to stop buying so much coffee. But Paul, how worried should we be? What exactly do we need to know there?
Yeah, so Matt, I think the quick answer is around the fact that no one should really be too worried. I'll give you the level of comfort why I say that. Firstly, I think from the top there is a very rigorous certification process, as well as like a lot of other penetration tests and evaluations that we have to go through to launch a product like this. We do it together with Halo that assist us in that process. So that gives you this kind of technical barrier around it to say, well, no guy in his deep, dark basement can sit and hack the app and, pull it apart and get access to all of Matt's funds. I mean, that's the first part. The second part is, the funds are all stored in our back-end systems, all shadowed by real bank accounts protected by the sponsoring bank, in this case, Nedbank. And these are all in a very secure server environment, which falls under PCI compliance. If you don't know what that is, it's the protection of card. It's a kind of a standard set up by Visa and MasterCard, which we follow stringently. And I think then the last bit is around, well, what about the obvious, where if I took my phone and I just tapped it on your card, am I stealing money from you? So I think that's kind of taken care of in two ways. The first one, I think, as you may have witnessed yourself, when you're tapping your card on a POS device, if it's above a certain amount, I think it's 500 Rand now, it'll prompt you for a PIN. So there is that level of protection for that upper limit, which the app does support. So if you are purchasing something for more than 500, you'll have to enter your PIN. But I think the second part is around the situation where one could tap their phone on someone else's card. It's not a new problem. It's a problem that exists today already, and it's one that this solution doesn't really exacerbate. It's not trying to solve it, but it's definitely not making it worse. And it's kind of something that the industry knows about and accepts. So, yeah, this is not creating any kind of bigger situation than already exists. And we definitely see that the upside behind a solution like this far outweighs any kind of evil doing that people are trying to do.
So if I lose my phone, I'm good.
If you lose your phone, you're definitely good, right?
Okay, cool.
There's pins and there's selfies and all this kind of stuff for people to get in. They're not going to just pick it up and start draining your wallet.
I'd be more bleak about my photos, to be honest with
photos, you. All those dodgy WhatsApp messages.
Yeah, exactly right. Do not back that shit up to cloud, people.
No, don't do
cool,
it.
Mike. I want to bring you back in here. So obviously you've now launched this whole thing. It's hit the market. The response has been really great. Could you maybe share with us just some numbers to kind of quantify exactly this market opportunity and some of the early success that you guys are seeing?
Yeah, 100%. So, I think high level, we're trying to target over 5 million SMEs across the country to be able to launch this product with. It's going to take, it's not only going to be with Telkom, it will be with other providers of the tap functionality as well. I think that, to start with, we've had over 2,000 downloads in the first week of the app. So watch the space, I think.
Well, that's great. That's great results. Craig, if I could maybe bring you back into the story here. You mentioned it's not just about Telkom Pay.
Sure.
There's obviously Ukheshe who's doing a great job with you in specifically in that space. Where are you guys going now? What kind of other proof points do you see manifesting, not only for merchants but for your partners and for end customers, but where are you guys going? Paint a picture of what the future looks like with Halo.
Yeah, I think without going into speculating of next customer, just to come back to the Telkom wallet scenario, I said earlier, you can't innovate on an old SpeedPoint machine with 3 lines. You can't do what they've done today in that wallet. Pay in, pay out, QR code, virtual card. That is just so special in its own right. And absolutely, like Paulie said, topping up your wallet and accepting the card is a starting point, and paying out is also key. So for us, that's what's so key. We just a kind of a card payment tech to enable players like Ukheshe and others, and we really are partnered to players that really take it to market. So they really represent the best scenario for us of getting to the actual market. If you have a product that is set up the same way the old SpeedPoint was, it's a failure, right? So they've really broken the back of getting that small SME, those millions of merchants who want to get paid and make payments. So I think absolutely they represent the best opportunity for scale and reaching millions of users in SA, Africa, and globally. So we're super excited to be on this journey with them. So
with Halo, you can definitely show me the money.
Absolutely.
Right? Okay, cool. Because I saw a lot of money here today, changing hands. So thank you guys. That concludes this episode. Hopefully you're now convinced you can also get the money with Halo. But Craig, what would you like merchants and or consumers to do, in terms of next thing? I want to get my hands on this Halo thing.
Yeah,
what must they do?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously our website, halo.io, but ultimately we're going to push you to partners like Telkom, like Ukheshe, to say that's how you actually get the solution. We are behind solutions, so you can by all means go to halo.io for more information, and you can also go straight to the App Store, download Telkom MPOS today, and start getting paid.
Fantastic. Great. Well, there you go, guys. That concludes this series, The Future with Halo. My name is Matt Brown. It's been a real privilege having you all here. We'll see you in the next series.